To hear it. You have helped me so much, and you have been so invested in this that I just woke up and just feel that you guys deserve to hear the whole thing. And I'm already getting emotional just thinking about sharing it with you. So just bear with me, but I'm going to try and get it all in one video. That way you don't have to do part 1, part 2 situation. If that doesn't happen, I apologize. Okay, here we go. Some of you know some of the details, but I'm going to kind of go as quick as possible. The start of the night, her and I drop off my vehicle at a location, and she and I meet. We drive down to the parking garages. Now, we had in the GPS, and I was very distracted with the GPS once we got downtown, because there were so many lights down there and the Christmas trees, and I was taking videos, and then she was like, oh, do we turn here? And I said, yeah. And then she turned, and I said, oh, wait, I don't know if we were supposed to. And so, but then we were like, oh, there's a thing that says parking right there for the AT&T house. So we go, okay, we go in there. We turn left to go down inside the parking garage. We find a spot, took an elevator, and we took it up. And these other ladies got in with us. And like I had told you, we were going to the Leslie Odom Jr. concert. And so these ladies were dressed to the nines. I mean, they were in ball gown like type dresses. And we were like, wait, we are super underdressed, or we're not going to the same place. And so that kind of worried me in the beginning. I'm like, oh no, are we at the wrong place? We go and we ask, they're like, no, you're at the wrong place. They said, you can go through those stairs over in the corner and through that door, and it'll take you into the other parking garage where you need to be. Oddly enough, I have an actual footage clip of this, because I'm a content creator as well, and on multiple different channels, and I was going to post that as kind of like a vlog of that night. And so I have footage I'll place right here. Look at these stairs. Look at that. What in the fuck? Where are we? And where do we go? What in the hell? What the fuck? President Snow, we have a message for you. Oh yeah, this is the right place. Okay. Jesus. Okay. So once we were in there, we were walking in, and we noticed immediately that, and nothing was weird at this point. Okay. We didn't think anything was weird yet. Okay. But being at the wrong place, I don't know if that activated anything, okay? So we walk in, and we both noticed, but I didn't say it until we were going up the stairs, because we were on the very top of the balconies, okay? I asked her, I said, does it look really, like, foggy in here to you? And she goes, yeah, dude. She's like, I thought it was, like, I didn't know if it was just me, but she's like, yeah, it's like, I can't even see. Like, it's so smoky in here. Like, it was like this foggy, smoky kind of vibe. And the weird thing is when we got in the actual auditorium for the opera house, I didn't notice that same fog around us, because we were sitting and I could see everything so clearly. So I don't think it was in there. It was out in the lobby. So fast forward, the concert was the best thing of my life, the best ever. Okay. So that was glorious. Nothing bad hindered that. Afterward, I wanted to go down to the very bottom floor and see if we could meet him or get an autograph. I really wanted to get an autograph. So we walked right past this usher lady. She seemed kind of distracted, and we walked all the way down to the stage front. And there was a bunch of people there with like lanyards, VIP lanyards, and me and her were like, oh my God, we obviously aren't supposed to be here. Like, we're in the wrong place. Like, they're gonna know like that we aren't supposed to be there because we don't have a lanyard. And then they were like, if you have a lanyard, like line up at this door, we're gonna take you backstage. And everybody started to line up, and we were just kind of like, ooh, you know. And so we asked the lady, we're like, hey, is there a way we can buy a ticket? Or, you know, is there a way that I can just pay for an autograph? I just really want an autograph from Leslie. And they said, okay, let's go through. You got to follow everybody through, and then we'll ask somebody. And so we said, okay. So we got through the doorway. Everyone else went into another doorway, and then we were waiting in this hallway. And then they were like, no, there's nothing you can do. That everything has to be pre-done. And so we were like, okay. So this is where everything went crazy. We go down one level to go to the door that we had come through in the parking garage, right? So we're down on that level. We walk over to that wall. There's no longer a door. Like, we don't know where we came through, right? There's other doors, but we don't see an obvious door where we would have come through. One of them looked like it was coming from like a boiler room area. We went to another one. Okay, so we opened the door, and there was the stairwell, right, from the clip, or a stairwell. They could have been different, okay? And so we were like, okay, maybe this is it. So we go down, and it's like a one-sided door. There's no handle to open to go to the other garage. And I tried to like get the little thing with my nails or like pull up under the door. You can't. Okay, so we were like, what do we do? So we went down another level, and all the doors were locked, and we're like, oh my God, we're gonna get stuck in here. Like, we have to go back the same way we came. So we go back up the stairs. We go through the door that we came through, and then we were walking back towards the escalators because we're gonna take them back up and figure out what we're gonna do. Well, then I realized that all the escalators that were going up initially when we first arrived were now all only going down. There was no option to go up. It was only down. Every single one of them was only going down. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, how? I guess we have to take the elevator that's like, you know, right behind it. And so we were like, okay, let's go back up top. We pressed floor 3, okay? And it took us to the very bottom floor of the parking garage. And we were like, okay, we got out, and we were like, whoa, this is not it. Okay, we're trying to find the level that we were on. Also, I don't think this is going to be I think this is going to have to be a part 2 because I'm already 7 minutes into recording this. I'm trying to hurry, but also be very thorough. We asked one of the workers came into the elevator, and we're like, which level do we take to get to the very top floor? And she was like, this level or whatever. So we clicked it, we get out, and I was like, okay, we need to stop being in the parking garage. We're done with that. Because as soon as I saw the escalators upside down and like the floors weren't matching, I was like, okay, I feel like we're in Labyrinth. Like, I feel like we are in David Bowie's Labyrinth, right? And I was like, because the stairs, it just reminded me of that. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So then when we got out of the whole thing, I was like, we're not going back in there. Okay, we made it out of there. Let's walk across the street up top to the next door, ask how to get to their parking garage. We'll go down, we'll go. The guy was like, okay, yeah, go over he was like, go in and go. And on your left, you'll see the entrance to go down. Well, as soon as we go in, we go right, and on the right, there was the entrance to go down. And we were like, later it was like, he said it was on the left, but everything was on the right. Okay, so that was one of the things that was backwards, okay? And so we go downstairs, we go through this lobby, go into the parking garage, and then as we're going around the corner, to the right again, we see another exit where other people were coming through that they didn't have to walk where we had to walk. And then we proceeded to try to find the vehicle. We couldn't remember what floor it was, but the floors were color-coded, and we remembered seeing green around us. So we picked the green floor. We finally found the car. When we got in her car and she put the backup camera on, there was stuff all over the screen. Like, something had like put like mud on her actual camera. And then we were like, what the hell is that? And then I was like, no. We've all seen that before. Nobody gets out to check on that because that's when bad things happen. So we just drove, okay? Okay, so we were feeling good at that point. We got to the car, we were headed out of the parking garage, we made it out, right? And so on the way, we saw a Waymo, which was like the first time that we had ever seen that, right? And I'll insert the clip here. Like, we were in really good spirits. We were laughing on the way out of the parking garage. Like, we didn't have a bad vibe on ourselves. It's not like we were trying to make it weird. Like I have actual video proof that we were feeling great, and I'll put it here.
It's the weird button. What are you fucking doing?
It's the Waymo! No driver!
Okay, so we were joking on the way. Now this is where some of the details come in, okay? We were joking on the way that, and she was like, we should have just like, you know, and this is a complete joke or whatever. She's like, we should have just acted like we were blind or something, and that like, and be like, oh, where's my VIP badge? I don't know where it's at, you know, because we were trying to get backstage to see Leslie. So we were just laughing, we were joking. Get to the restaurant. Now this is a restaurant I had been to before, like only a handful of times, okay? And it was nearby where we were gonna park the truck. So we checked, and now listen, so this is where things get very detail oriented. So we get there, and it was 10 o'clock at night. Okay, they had 2 more hours until they closed. We get out, we're walking in, and there's 2 little boys right in front of the doors, okay? They're both on skateboards. The first one falls down, starts laughing or whatever. The other one immediately falls down, and I'm talking biff it, like falls, not just like slip. I mean, they fell completely down. And so we were giggling, they were giggling, we walked in, but we were completely not laughing when we go in, okay? So we go in, the hostess says, hi, and I think it was a girl, I don't know, I literally can't recall that part. But they were like, would you like to sit in a booth or a table? And I said, a booth, please. And we're like, we want to be comfortable. So they take us upstairs to the right. They take us to a booth and set us at a table that actually had everything from the floor swept right in front of our table that she put us at. Okay. And so we were like, that's kind of weird. Like, why is there like trash swept right here? And then they put us there. And so Maddie was like, oh, we're going to scoot in. So she sat in front of me. I sat facing the doors and everything, okay? So this is where things started to get more shocking to us. And pay attention to the skateboard thing, because that actually comes later on in the story. I hope you're still with me. I know this is a lot, but you guys wanted to hear the whole thing, so here we go. Okay, so the waiter, okay, he comes over. Now, mind you, this is like I said in other videos, it's kind of like a Chili's, Applebee's type vibe. It's not anything you should be dressed up really nice or anything. So our waiter comes over, he's in black slacks, a black button up, like long sleeve shirt, okay? Very white gray hair, more white than gray, okay? And very close shaven, but you can still see all the coloring of his facial hair, okay? And it's the same as his hair. It's that white gray color. He was speaking to us in a very soft tone the entire time. He never took his voice into a normal register the whole time, okay? Now, mind you, there was people in front of us and behind us, and we could hear how he was interacting with them, and he was being completely normal. It was just with us that things were super weird. So we sit down, right? We're sitting down. He comes over, he brings the napkins over and says, good morning. And me and her look at each other, and we were like, no. It was 10 p.m. That's not close to morning. And they were closing in 2 hours, which means it's not like they had just come for the night shift. Okay, that wouldn't have been as weird if they were open super late into the morning. Okay, like 10 p.m. is not morning. So we looked at him, and we're like, and I said, and so okay, I just want to preface this too. Anything I say as acting this out, what I say and what he says is going to be the same tone and facial expression for me of how I said it to him, and the tone of how he says things to me, okay, and to us. Okay, so says good morning, and me and her look, and I go, did you just say good morning? And he goes, yeah. As if, yeah, obviously it's morning. And me and her are like, okay. So then he proceeds, we get the menus, and he's like, would you like any dessert before you order your dinner? No. No, because you order dinner first and then you have dessert. So he comes back to get our order. All right, he gets hers first, and she says it, and he goes, okay. It was like he always was more messing with me than her. And the weird thing was, is I had told you guys that I had seen that video, the programming video, that morning. Now, I'm not saying that that video sparked this or anything. I'm just saying perhaps that video had unlocked something in my brain to activate astral projection or something. I don't know if it had anything to do with it or if it was a dark presence that I allowed in, right? I don't know, okay? And I'm not giving any, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying anything about that particular creator because everyone's experience could be different. I don't know. I would leave it up to anyone else to feel their own way about it. I just wanted to say that most of the weird things was projected towards me from him. So he didn't give her any flack for ordering, right? And I said, okay, I'm ready to order. And he goes, oh, wait. I think I know what you want. I can already tell you I know what you want. And I said, okay. And he said, does it have anything to do with yellow hippopotamus and a purple elephant in the middle of a city park? And we looked at each other, and I looked at him, I said, no, I just was going to get the steak and chicken and asparagus on the side, please. And I can't have sugar right now. So I'm like, can you just make sure there's no sauce? And I don't want any barbecue sauce on it. And then he's like, okay, got it. So they come back, they bring the food, and the barbecue sauce is smothered all over the steak, okay? And so I looked at it when he put it down, and I was like, oh, and I was literally trying not, I wasn't going to be rude. I hate being rude to wait staff. And another thing I want to add to you as well, normally when I'm talking with service people, I use my customer service voice. I'd be like, okay, thank you, but the vibe was so weird with him, and the way that he was being with us was so weird that I was talking in this tone, my normal me tone, which is not like me either. So I looked at him and I said, and Maddie goes, yeah, like she had ordered it with no sauce. And I looked at him and he was kind of like, do you want me to take it back? And I said, well, I mean, I don't want to be the, and he goes, what, the girl who gets what she wants? I looked at Maddie. I couldn't believe he said that to me. And I said, no, I don't want to have to, and he like took it and he's like, I'll take it back. And I'm like, I just wasn't trying to be that girl like that was going to be rude and send a whole steak back. I just offered it to her. I was like, do you want it? And I'll just have the chicken. And I was just trying to be super cordial about everything. So he brings it back on its own plate, right? And he's like, it's really hot or whatever. And I was like, okay, thank you, So he leaves us alone for a little bit. And this is where we start to notice the things in the room. I had mentioned in another video about the news, okay? There was no music playing. You could, all of a sudden, as soon as he left us alone, so all the TVs were covering the same news, okay? Every TV was the same. There was probably at least 8 to 10 TVs in that place, okay? All along the walls surrounding the whole thing. They were all playing the same news station. And the news never went to a commercial. It never talked about anything else except for death, murder, shootings, okay? And plane crashes and everything. And it was back to back to back to back, like about 7 times, okay? There was, and we and her were like, oh my God, how are they going to cover only these types of stories over and over and over? Like, what is going on? So then we were starting to question, during this time, we had started to question if we had passed on. Had we died together? And this was the in-between where we were getting the vibe that he was going to tell us that we were dead. Okay, that's where things started to really get weird. Okay, so all the TV is right, only talking about that. Now, here's where the skateboard. And some of you had mentioned Inception in the comments on one of my videos, and I actually talked about that to her. Okay, listen. So we started to feel like we were not in the normal. We realized we were not in the right timeline. So I was like, okay, have you ever seen the movie Inception? And she was like, no, I didn't really like pay attention if I saw it. And I said, okay, well, what they used to do is if they would go into dream states, but they got to the point where they didn't know if reality was a dream or not. So they had a token, and like there's one with like a top, and you would spin it. Okay. And if it wobbles and falls over, he's in reality. If it keeps spinning, he's still in the dream. And so now he knows where he's at. Okay. So I was like digging in my purse for something. I grabbed a pen out of it and I was like trying to spin it on the table. And I'm like, I had no before knowledge of what the freaking pen would do. So I'm like, this isn't making any sense, but you get the idea. Okay. And so then on the screens, one of the news station screens was split into 4. And in the top corner on the left, there was a commercial block one where it would play the commercials while everything else was still saying on the news. Okay. We look up, and the top corner one shows a little boy falling on off of a skateboard. Okay? Then, right after that, it shows a coin spinning on a tabletop. Can you guys explain that to me? The little boy's falling when we got there, and I had just talked about Inception to her. We were freaking out, okay? So then, Okay, so this is where we got really freaked out, and we're like, okay, we got to get out of here. We got to hurry up and eat. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And I really think that that could have been something that was trying to tell our subconscious to pull us back to the right area, because that's the only thing I can think of that we were saying that would have triggered the pullback, okay? So we were sitting there eating, and all of a sudden, after we were saying that, okay, seamlessly, in one swoop, like nothing had ever been different. All of a sudden, so we're sitting there, we're mid-bite, we're getting the food, putting it to our mouth, and all of a sudden, every TV switches to football. There's Christmas music playing really loud. The TVs are silent, and it's like, and everyone is normal, like nothing had ever been different. Like there had been no news. And me and her stopped mid-bite and looked at each other, and we were like freaking out. We were like, oh my God, did we just snap back to where we're supposed to be? Because you guys, there was so much dialogue between her and I in between of literally getting shaken up, getting worried, getting scared that we were dead together, that we had died together, and that this was where we would find out. And we genuinely were questioning our reality. We did not know if we were alive still. We did not know. And that was the scariest part of it, was to not know if we were real or not, if we were human anymore, or if we were in a next stage of life, okay? That was what creeped us out the most, because we didn't know what was going on. And everything, before I forget. So when he first said to us the good morning thing, her and I started nervous laughing, okay? Nervous laughing, because we were like, no, oh my God, no. Like that, okay? And then started laughing as a nervous response, because we didn't know what the hell was going on. This was back to when we first got there. I forgot about this part. So then, and I said to the guy, I said, I promise you, like, you know, we're completely sober. This is, you know, we're just giggly or whatever. Like, because that was before all the weirdness started, right after he said good morning, and that was our initial reaction. So then when we were laughing, I think he might have been a manager, or maybe it was another waiter, I don't know, had walked by, and he goes, hey, so-and-so, I think these girls over here might be drunk or whatever, right? And then the guy walks by and he goes, well, wish I wasn't. And me and her looked at each other again. We're like, what the hell? Normally you would say, wish I was, because you're on the clock, you're on the job, you're not drunk, right? Like, and so for him to walk by and loudly say, wish I wasn't, it was another part of the backwards, what's going on. Okay, so jump forward, sorry, because with details come, I get scatterbrained sometimes of like storytelling. Okay, so we're trying, you know, everything comes back, okay, to that. And we were like, I wonder if their waiter's going to be any different, or if he's going to act the same, because we're like, what just happened, right? So he comes over and he goes, I missed you while we were away. I said, okay, we just need the check and a to-go box, please. He's like, oh, well, yeah, I can get you the check, but I don't have the to-go box with me right now, but I can go get it and bring you one. Okay. In those tones and everything, okay? Me and her just constantly looking at each other like, what is going on? What is going on? We need to get out of here. Okay, like we literally need to get out of here. And while we were waiting for him to bring the stuff back, the Ghost of You by Justin Bieber song comes on. Or if I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. That was not a song we wanted to hear. They were playing Christmas music, and then they switched it to the Ghost of You song by Justin Bieber. And we were starting to get extremely emotional at that point because we were like, oh my God, no. So he comes back over, he gives her the thing, takes it, brings it back, okay? And then while she's like filling it out, he looks at me and he says, would you like to hear a joke or a riddle? And I said, and he's like, have you heard it before? He's like, it's called blah, blah, blah. Like, have you heard it before? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know if I've heard it before. And so he proceeds to go on saying, okay, let me tell you about these two people who died. And they proceeded, and he was talking about, and as soon as he said that, I looked at her, and he said, these two people that died, and then he said something about a blind person. Turns out something so-and-so they knew was blind or whatever, right? In this riddle, I don't know exactly what he said, but my mind caught the two dead people and the blind person, okay? Remember back to when I told you in the Waymo, we were talking about being blind, okay? So when he said that riddle to us, first of all, why the hell, as a customer service person, if this was a real realm, you don't say stuff like that to people, okay? So he was being very strange. And like I said, just his tone of voice the whole time, very odd, very weird, okay? And so when he said that, you guys, I covered my face with both my hands and started fucking weeping in fear, like like crying, because I had never felt more scared in my life. All I knew was I wanted to be alive so bad, and I started just weeping. It was a chest weep, because I was like, was that him telling us we are dead? Was that his confirmation for us, that like his way of telling us we're dead? And so and this is what he said. He stayed completely calm, no remorse in his voice, but this is the words he said to me. He goes, well, I didn't mean to make you cry. Would you like a napkin? And I'm sitting there sobbing, and I go, and I pick my hand up and go, no, I'm fine. And I said, well, this has been really weird. And he goes, yep. And he walks away. We get up. We walk out. I chucked the steak in the trash. It had a weird flavor to it anyway, because I took 2 bites out of it and said, there's something not right about that steak anyway, so I don't want it. So I threw it out. We got in the car. We were literally a crying mess, and we were scared to leave each other because she was about to have to take me back to my vehicle, and we were like, should we separate? We don't know if we're really in or out of this. And we proceeded that entire evening to not feel right. We felt violated. We felt like the vibe we felt was violated, and just scared. And I've never had an experience like that in my life. So I'm going to try to wrap this so I don't have to do a part 4. Thank you guys for listening. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I was extremely exhausted the day after, had no energy. I stayed in the bed the entire day. Felt really lightheaded, very woozy, very like getting up. My head felt spinny and swimmy. And today is day 2 after. So we'll see how today goes. But I appreciate you all. Thank you for listening. Hi guys. So this is the 3rd day. We're right in the middle of the 3rd day since this happened. The day after, I stayed in bed the entire day. I had 0 energy to do anything. And then the next day, also no energy. So yesterday for me, no energy. I tried to stay hydrated, but yeah, I just no energy. And every time I would get up, I felt very lightheaded, very like swimmy, if that makes sense, in my head for those 2 full days. Today, I felt better, finally. I still catch little vibes of the feeling slightly off when I stand up, if I stand up too fast. But today has been the first time since that happened that I feel better, right? Like, I don't feel the same. Since that happened, I don't think I'll ever be the same, honestly. I feel something is different in me, and whatever that is, I'm still exploring that and still trying to figure it out. I do want to say thank you so much. Pretty much everyone, I mean, there's a few strays in there that, you know, think it's funny or you think I'm weird or whatever, but for the most part, like 99% of you have seen me, heard me, and actually care. The amount of messages I've got or like detailed explanations is just mind-blowing to me, and please keep it coming, because it is really helping me and my friend to kind of piece together what's going on. Some of the stuff that you guys will say or figure out is so enlightening, and it's kind of like I have this whole like puzzle going on in my mind of what happened. And I know some of you have mentioned like the fog and potential abduction. I don't know, like that's, I never even thought of that possibility. It's really weird that you guys said that too, because last night I was laying in bed. Let me get the timestamp. So I texted my husband, it was 11:07 p.m. So I heard this very loud humming noise. I was laying in bed watching TV, okay, and I heard this very loud humming vibration, and that felt like it was like right outside of my window. And all of a sudden, because I was in the middle of watching Glee on my television, all of a sudden the TV stops, it says no internet connection, and my stomach dropped. Like, I felt a physical reaction during that exact thing. And then all of a sudden it went away, the TV came back on, and I texted my husband and I'm like, I just want to feel like, I'll show you what I said to him. Okay, so I'll put it up on the screen here so you can see it was like a legitimate actual conversation. Like, so the whole like fog and abduction and everything, I don't know. I've heard people experience feeling ETs before, and I don't know if that's what that was, but my body did have a actual physical reaction. I've had power surges before and never felt anything, but the weird like, and I'm not saying that that is what happened that night, because I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. Like I said, you guys are really helping me to put the puzzle pieces together, and the new findings, and the person knowing the riddle and then their comment being deleted is very weird. And then someone had mentioned, I'll put it here, the comment strand of the person saying that, you know, they asked good morning, but they offered you dinner. And then someone was like, yeah, like they had already knew they were going to say that riddle to her. And that sent me. I sent that immediately to my friend. It was like, what in the world? Man. There's just, yeah, there's a lot. But I just want to say, I will keep you guys posted, and I really appreciate your enthusiasm and interest and investigating this with me and trying to figure out what happened, because I've never had anything like this happen in my life, as far as something this drastic. And like I said, I don't feel the same. I'm not the same person. And something inside of me is definitely different from that experience. And my friend Maddie, like we feel completely changed. And another update. So I know a lot of you guys said to do grounding and everything, and I did do that. I actually found, yesterday I went to a park and I found 3 trees that were in the shape of a triangle. And I went and I stood between them and just thanked my ancestors for still being alive, or a second chance, or whatever this was. And then I went and touched each tree and just barefoot, stepping on the roots, stepping on the ground, and just really taking some time to just be thankful to even be here, and just really try to listen And it was really weird because when I stood up from kneeling down between the trees and I looked up, on the actual tree was a figure shape, which looked like, the best way I can explain it to you would be like Odin or something, right? Like, but if he had like a hood on, like no eye patch or anything, I'm just saying like it was a manly figure within the tree, like, and it's not even something that I was seeing. It literally looked like it was imprinted on the tree, right? And seeing like the top of like a hood and then like a beardish kind of vibe with like a cloak on almost. It felt good, like a good presence, like it was an ancestor or someone, like a spirit guide or somebody that had been looking out for me. And I just thanked it. Just amazing vibes in that triangle. So I did do grounding and will definitely be doing more protections and anchoring and things like that. So just thank you so much, you guys. And obviously, like, we'll discuss more. And I will talk to my friend. I did mention it to her already that you guys want to hear her part of the story. I don't know if she's ever going to want to actually get on camera and share her experience with it. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we're both very shaken up and still trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm sure as time goes. And also at this point in time, I do not want to go back to that restaurant. I do not want to talk to that person again if they're even there. That's another thing too, is right now I don't want, I mean, there's that curiosity, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous to call and see if that person is there, because I don't know what I would do if they said, we don't have someone who works here by that name. I don't even know how I would react. So maybe in time I will get to that point, but right now everything's so fresh, and Christmas Eve is tomorrow, and I just need to focus on my family for the Christmas time. And I mean, I'm still going to be here checking in the comments with you guys, but I'm saying, like, I can't focus too much on that right now and have it steal my time with my family. So I don't want to do that. But this is something that, you know, I don't really foresee. I mean, it's not something you can just forget about and try to move on, you know? So we'll see what happens in the future of, like, me trying to continue to piece things out or investigate more. I don't know. But I just appreciate you guys being here, and it feels like an actual true community. You guys have made me feel seen and heard and cared for, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much. I think this comment is really funny. You can think whatever you want as far as my whole story, but if you go back to my initial video, I say in the video, that was the scariest night of my life. I've literally lost a parent, and getting the phone call out of nowhere that your mom is dead, that's a pretty scary night to have. And I said in the video that that night was scarier than that. And I wasn't ready to share the full story of what happened, but I told you guys that some sort of timeline jump happened and asked if anyone had ever astral projected before while awake. I gave enough information to just find out general things. I was not ever really going to share the full video, or at least I didn't know at that point if I was going to say every little detail that happened that night. I was fucking traumatized. But with how many people were so involved and helping me figure out what was going on, helping me not feel alone, I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt safe enough to actually finally share the full video, the full story of what happened that night with me and my friend. It's not my job to convince you that whatever happened to us was real, because honestly, Tati, if that's how you say her name, I don't care if you believe me. I don't care if there's a bunch of people who don't believe me, because there are people who think when they listen to the whole story, they think, wow, you're a loser, you're dumb, like there's nothing for you. But y'all are not the people for me. You aren't my people. The people for me are the people who understand. They're the people who get it. They're the people who know that there was something deeper that night that is beyond surface level. And so you guys can all think whatever you want. And also, not to brag or anything, because I know you mentioned in this comment that I'm trying to get followers. Babe, I have almost 400,000 followers on another page. I did not come here trying to make a bunch of followers from sharing the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. I knew there was a huge chance that I would sound like a complete whack job and embarrass myself in front of the internet. And I had no idea that hundreds of thousands of people would see my story, all parts of the story at this point. And yes, I am a witch. Witchy lady, as you called me. Thank you. That's actually a big ass compliment. I've never hid that. And I actually made this page specifically to find people like me. And that's why I posted the story here on this page, because I figured people would be more understanding over here and be more open-minded, or maybe more spiritually connected, or anything on this page specifically that I made, to be able to find people who could help me have answers. And the most beautiful part is that majority of the people who are commenting are being supportive and saying that they understand, or they've been through it too, or wow, they don't feel alone anymore. And you know what? That's worth anyone who doesn't believe me, because I know and my friend know what happened that night, and we don't need anyone to believe us because we were both there and we both experienced it. The biggest thing I'm getting from your comment is jealousy. Like, I'm sorry that people are paying attention to something really interesting that happened and really scary for me and for my friend, and that we don't feel the same since that.
If you want more true horror walking tours and dark history, subscribe. We're not done yet.